Hi. Hey, say hi. Say hi, YouTube. Hi. Oh, say hi, YouTube. Hi. Can you wave? Wave. Say hello. Hi. All right. You want to tell me when to hit record?
Yes. 1, 2, 3, record. Look at that.
Sorry, needed a water. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Ooh. Hurt my
That was
ear a
loud
little.
in my ear too.
Oh.
Hi, yeah.
Okay.
Hi, YouTube.
Hi.
You're starting this one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to adjust myself, though. Jed told me that I need to move the microphone so that I'm seen.
Oh, for YouTube. Did you watch
But
YouTube?
yeah, the other day we were at his brother's house, and I was just mentioning, I was like, yeah, we're on YouTube now, and we're starting to eat dinner, and all of a sudden I hear this
Oh
noise behind
no.
the TV, and I was like, that sounds familiar, and then it was us.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I'm gonna do the same thing then, Jed. Thank you for the advice.
No, but
We.
if I'm gonna talk into it, it's kind of hard.
Well, I know. But I mean your mouth is higher. Oh wait, if you do this, there, look. It's like a mask. You just have to see the it's like somebody who's wearing their mask wrong. You have to see the nose. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Here, take this. Take it. Oh no, you just need to say hello.
Hi.
Oh, go to sleep, little guy. You don't want your passy pass?
It's on podcast with Paisley.
What?
Paisley has like 10 episodes ready to go.
Paisley? Oh, Paisley's podcast.
The Pants Podcast.
What do you want, buddy?
Welcome
What are you
back to the
looking for?
podcast with your host, Paisley Pants. Today's episode is about squirrels, friend or foe.
What do you want? Here, hold on. Let me get him some water.
Okay. Hey,
Okay.
YouTube. I will finish my coffee while I wait for Ciara.
Drink. We drink. Is that
Although
what you wanted?
tidbit, the only reason I drink coffee now is mostly because I'm used to it and to make sure I don't get a headache, not because I actually need the energy.
You've become addicted. You have to wean
You know what?
into
It's also a little bit of it's like my morning snack because it's a low cal snack. When I was sick the other week, I didn't drink. I don't drink coffee when I'm sick usually because it doesn't even matter. I'm tired anyway, and I have a headache anyway, so whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not what I want. So I weaned myself off it for the most part while being sick, like congested for a week. But then it's a good snack.
Yeah. I know. Yesterday, the photographers were here to take pictures of the house, and well, the photographer and the realtor. And she was like, because of COVID, we just asked that you step outside. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Okay. All day yesterday, I had the baby on my back and was moving furniture while I was waiting for them to get here. And then I assumed because there's a couple things I needed to move out of the rooms so he could take the pictures. And so they called me back in for that or whatever. But because I was outside, I didn't know I was going to be outside. So I didn't have my water or my coffee or any snacks. So when they left, and I was already late to pick up Arrow by the time they left. So I ran in. What?
Ravenous.
Yes. I went in and I was just like, need water, need food. And I scarfed down the rest of my English muffin that was waiting for me in the house, in the fridge, because I had to hide it from the photographer. And then I guzzled my coffee, which I had also set in the fridge. And I was like, okay, I gotta keep moving. So, and we went on. But anyway.
Okay.
Let's do it. Coffee's a good snack. On that note.
It is a good snack. Welcome back to the In Raw Life podcast. We are super excited that you're here today. And I am really excited about this episode. It came to me one day.
In a dream.
No, it came to me one day when I was listening to another podcast, along with getting one of my favorite random Broadway songs stuck in my head. And
Yeah.
it kind of just all came together, and I had all these thoughts really quickly and how perfect this would be for a February episode. And I voice messaged Ciara right away, and I was like, okay, we have to do this, and here are all of my thoughts. And then here we are recording it a couple weeks later.
Yep.
But before we get to that, ooh, Ciara,
I don't even want to.
is your reality check to this moment. Maybe not even today, just this moment.
I know. So our timeline for moving has been fluid. Jay, last year in 2020, Jay would always say everything is fluid. Like you can't make plans, everything's fluid. And that has been also the theme of this move. It started as like we could move into our house February, or no, it started with we'll probably move in March, to we can move as soon as February 1st, to we can't move until February 24th, to we're recording, it's January 4th, we're moving in 2 weeks. So, little stressful. Un poquito stressful. Ooh.
Like you're living the life of a military family.
Sort of, yeah. Yeah. But a lot of emotions, and without like getting too much into it, the reason, Greggy, it's okay. The reason that we're moving early is just because Jay has like a really not, just a toxic work environment that he's been in for 3 years. And I just gave him the biggest hug last night and said thank you, because he stayed in that for us. Like he has the need to provide for his family, and he's looked for other jobs along the way, but like it, in certain seasons it's just easier to stay where you're at because it's less complicated than job hunting. And he has stayed there tirelessly, even though it's terrible. And hey, where's your passy? Oh, there it is. Oh, here, take this. Please go to sleep. Look at this, like he's flailing back. This is his new trick.
You're such a little thinker.
Hi. I just needed to do that so I could wave again. Hi.
Your thing like I do.
What?
He's doing this.
Do you do that to him?
Yeah, I do it to him.
Oh, I'm like, I've never seen you do that. I'm like, oh wait, not to me. Hi, Ciara. Greggy, here, take this, please. Go to snooze. So, anyway, he stayed there tirelessly, and then when he put his notice in, I realize with editing sometimes my transitions when we get interrupted are strange. So I'm working on that. And when he put his notice in, it was just something crazy happened, and one of the people didn't respond well. And so it's like, all right, we're just not even going to bother anymore. Let's just go, because we have a place waiting for us in New Jersey. So for him to stay is just not even necessary. But anyway, so I'm dealing with a lot of emotions. One, the fact that people exist that treat people the way that my husband has been treated for the past 3 years. Two, the fact that my husband has been treated that way for the past 3 years. Just like, yeah, that makes me mad. Four. I skipped straight to four. Three doesn't even matter. No, three, the fact that like my husband works for a city, like the government. Like you would think that there'd be checks and balances to keep toxicity out, but it's just not. Which, like, in one regard is disheartening. In another regard, it encourages me that, like, thank goodness we have what we're creating, and that we can establish a place where people feel safe and validated. And if they have a problem, they can come to us. Anyway, I like that. I like it, reaffirms what we're creating with our business. But then lastly, like, it's just emotional because of like it's emotional because of the move. It's hard that we're moving. I'm excited to move. It's time to move. I'm ready to move. But I'm also now, we were going to have Arrow in school 1 more month. He was going to get to finish out January at his school with his friends. They were possibly going to do the toddler rendition of Grease, and Arrow was going to get to be Danny. I know. I don't know that is actually, they talked about it. I wasn't sure that it was actually going to happen, but still, now it's most likely not. And yeah, and I do have people that I'm going to miss here. And we were planning certain dates, like, okay, before I leave, we're going to do this, this, and this. And now it's like, okay, before I leave, we're going to say goodbye. And that's about it. So anyway, there's just a lot of emotions. And this morning when I woke up at 5, Arrow woke up with me. He actually woke me up at 5 because his sleep schedule's been so off because we just have him watching a lot of TV while we're packing, like it's such a weird season for him. And so he like fell asleep at 6 p.m. because his sleep cycle's been so off. And he woke up at 5 a.m. and I was up with him, and it was kind of fun because I like do my devotion and work in the morning. So I got to do it with him this morning. Shh, shh, shh. Hey, you're okay. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Anyway, but while I was so glad that he was awake because my stomach was just like, I had a pit in my stomach. And so like just being able to sit there and drink my coffee with him, and he was watching videos, like Bible videos, because I usually read the Bible in the morning. So now he was kind of like doing his own devotion with me, which was so special and was a nice counterbalance to how just sick I felt, because I'm sad and a little sick to my stomach when I think about it too much. But anyway, now everyone's awake, so when I'm around people, it helps pull me out of that. So in the morning I was like, oh, my reality check is going to be so gloomy. But now I'm like, oh, okay, I've talked to Jay and Arrow's teacher and now Jessica, so I'm fine. People to bring me out, which just shows like you got to know what brings you out of your gloom. And I know, Jessica, your face brings me out of my gloom, so thank you.
Well, thank you.
Anyway, what's your reality?
Oh, I don't know. Excuse me. My cough is my reality. I was like just a kid too. Like, I mean, I got sick a lot as a kid, and my cough would last for like a month afterwards, and it's still lasting. But no. My reality is, I don't know. I'm in a really good mood because I just got my kid back yesterday after not having her.
Yeah.
And it was a really good night, and it was a really good morning. She just went back to school today after winter break. So we're good. We'll see what this afternoon brings. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of good, positive things and for our business, and like getting to like network and stuff, and continuing with my regular work and this, and it just still feels really good. And
yeah. That's awesome. I also think like I was thinking this yesterday, all the stuff that's happening that's like delaying our progress because of all the stuff that's happening on my end. Like this just shows how much this needs to be out there, what we're working on, because I don't think that you're met with conflict unless it's something that's going to be big and life-changing for people. So like, all right, bring it. Conflict. I mean, you can slow down. You really don't have to bring it. But conflict that has already existed, whatever. I'm not gonna let you bring me down because I am on track to do something huge and it needs to happen, and I'm gonna make it happen. So
I know, I feel like when like conflicting things like that come up, I'm sorry so much.
you're fine.
There's like a good conflicting thing or a bad one. It's like, I don't like to use the term testing because I don't think that like we're being tested.
Yeah, I don't either.
I used to think, but I don't. It's not a good way to think. But it's definitely like, okay, is this trying to deter me for a certain reason? Like, but like just knowing that, you know what, it's not, and it's okay to have these things going, and I also still need to stay on my path, and it's work out great.
Yeah. I fully agree. I think I have some things that are slowing us down a little, but oh man, we're gonna persevere, and
we're just gonna learn from it, because then when other things come up, when we're doing even bigger things, we're like, okay, we've been through this before and we know how to keep going.
And when you desire something so strongly, you just have to go until it's done.
That's right.
Boom, segue.
Well, yes. So I listened to, let me try that again.
So actually before, you go ahead.
So
keep going.
So I listened to a podcast episode, one of my favorite podcasts lately, the Life School podcast, about desires. And it turns out that she actually had like two different episodes, one like many years ago and one just recently. And she talks about desires and how our desires are the map to our life. And then, like I said, I got this song stuck in my head. It's one of my favorite songs, just like comes up randomly. It's called The Stars and the Moon, and it's from the Broadway show Songs for a New World. And it's this woman singing about how, she's always wanted to live like this lavish life and the life like the movie stars lead. And she meets this guy who doesn't have much, but like he promises her the stars and the moon and stuff like that. And and she's like, no, I really would rather have champagne or a yacht or whatever she says at that moment. And then the next guy comes along and he's like wild and free and like left his family, but like he's out on the road and living the life of adventure and you're not sure what comes next. And she's like, like it all sounds so good, but I really would rather have a life that's scripted and planned. And then she meets this guy who's a millionaire at 30 and like already retired and he has villas all over the world and they'll like honeymoon in Beijing and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, so she marries him and then it never changes and then it never grows. And then she awakes one day and she's like, oh my gosh, I never got the moon. So it's, I don't know, like that paired with having listened to the other episode, it just sparked this in me like, what is like desire and how do we know what to follow to fulfill our potential in our lives and become, or even not even become the best versions of ourselves, but to continue to grow into the next best version of ourselves. Because I don't think it's an end goal. And I don't think that it's, what words to put this in? Like, you need to be content in what you have and what you're doing and not think the grass is always greener on the other side. The grass is green where you are. And you can constantly tend to the grass so it can become greener and you'll be happy in both parts of the greenness. I guess.
In both greeneries.
So that's kind of what it sparked and just thinking about, am I just going through the motions? Am I following, she was talking about on the podcast, false desires and desire from lack. Those are the desires that we do not need to follow.
Yeah. Like what would be an example?
So like false desire is thinking about things that alter our emotional state. So like alcohol, food, she even talked about like porn and stuff like that. Like those are desires and they're in us and we feel this desire to like need it or want it or do it. But then it doesn't bring us to a better version of ourselves. And it's like, it's something unfulfilled in the end. But it is a desire and it's okay to like look at it and be like, okay, you're there, cool, but you don't need to feed it.
That was like, who was it? Was it Diana that was talking about when we eat chocolate, how it gives our brain excitement, but it doesn't actually, because it's not like a memory.
Diana.
Oh, I thought it was Diana. But either way, one of the habit episodes we talked about how chocolate temporarily like it gives you this like hit of dopamine or oxytocin or whatever, but it's not actually like a memory that retains itself in your mind. It's just like it's almost like it's a false feeling. It's like it's a real feeling, but it's based on something that's not like the same way alcohol or drugs would give you that hit of excitement, but it's not a long lasting hit. So I feel like it's almost along the same lines.
Yeah. And then the desire from lack, which I feel like most people, I don't know if I want to use the word suffer from, but suffer from, is, believing, oh, just when I make more money, I'll be happy. When I have this many more kids, or when my kids are this age, I'll be happy. Or when I have the next car or the next job, instead of just realizing what they have is really awesome. And also doing a good like gut check, like, is what I have what I desire and want? And if it's not, what do I actually desire? And how can I be happy right now and happy in the process? Or about
so what?
I said happy in the process or happy about the process. Like,
Yeah, gotcha. So one thing that I learned when I was learning more about the Enneagram is that, so I'm an Enneagram 7, and the Enneagram 7's biggest fear? No.
yeah,
Yes,
desire.
fear. Yeah. So it's their biggest fear is pain, but their biggest desire is not the opposite of pain, whatever that would be. Comfort. The well, I guess it kind of is in a way. Their biggest desire is contentment, which
Mhm.
is so interesting because we're really as a general population of sevens, we're very discontent people. We're always seeking adventure and seeking the next best thing. A lot of sevens are shopaholics and things of that nature. I personally am a moveaholic. I'm always on to the next place. But actually, right before I left California, I learned about like my issues with contentment. I was able to like really reflect on my life and how often I was discontent. And Gray just went, ooh. um, but yeah, looking at just, I don't know, my life and all the things, like I always wanted to move schools and move on to the next opportunity because of the fear of missing out. But in that process, I was missing out on what was actually happening right there in my present circumstance. And that's why it's funny with this move, even though, like I said, my discontentment is usually what causes me to move. With this move, it was very different. It wasn't like seeking contentment or seeking a resolution
Or something.
to a state of discontentment, because I'm really content here. And it's funny because it took a lot. And I almost feel like I wasn't able to leave until I got content here. But our house is 1,000 square feet, and I used to be so miserable. It's one bathroom, it's so tiny, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't have a fence, it doesn't have a dishwasher. And now I'm like, I love this house so much. I've learned how to live in a small space, and with my, big family of four, but still four people in a
Two
small
cats.
1,000 square feet is what? Plus two cats and a dog, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, no kidding. But I seriously, like, I just love it so much. And I mean, it did help when Jay took out the old nasty carpet that was in here when we moved in, and we've transformed it from from 70s chic to 2020 glam. I don't know what you'd call our style. Farmhouse,
Yeah.
whatever. But it's great. Glam. Anyway, but it took me changing my thoughts on my situation. So we also live a half hour from my mom, and I'm always thinking like, oh, if we lived closer, I'd see her more often, and some of my friends that live up by my mom. But if we didn't live here, we wouldn't have found the school that Arrow's at, that we absolutely love and have made amazing friends with Arrow's teacher because of. And there's just so many. Instead of looking at the negatives, I was able to focus on the positives, and that gave me contentment about something that otherwise looks humdrum, like, oh, look at that small house and their used cars and whatever. Like, that's what people can see on the outside. And if they want to judge me for it, go ahead. But I'm out of debt. I've got a savings account that can help us through hard times. And I'm in a place with the people that I love so much that I don't want anything else. And that feeling took a lot of work, a lot of like a gut check, like you said. And it took a transformation of my own mind and heart. And now I'm like so incredibly grateful for what I do have,
Mm-hmm.
a debt free bank account and all that jazz, like this beautiful 1,000 square feet house that I'm going to be sad to leave. It's awesome. So, awesome.
Hearing you talk about contentment and like how that's a good place to move on from, even though it feels sad.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching, I finally finished Schitt's Creek. It's
Uh-huh.
like 6 seasons. And then I watched the documentary about it and I totally cried my eyes out. But they were talking about how, I mean, they could have gone on, and there's plenty of TV shows that do this too. But I think it's like the smartest way to go about things is you let something run its course through it's like still being good. Like you want to leave on a good note. You don't want to
Mm-hmm.
leave just because you're discontent or it's not working or whatever, because
Yeah.
then then you've lost something instead
Yeah.
of, wow, look at what we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so
That,
true.
that brought up another good note. Um, Something that she talked about on the podcast too was, oh man, she talked about not needing to justify your desires to yourself or anyone else. And
Mm-hmm.
also, you shouldn't, like, don't let anyone else's judgment of what it is that you desire get in the way. I mean, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, desires pair with what your passion is. I feel like how you and I talk about like passions a lot lately
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. I don't know if we've done it on the podcast, but to find your desire, you need to kind of just look at yourself and figure out what is it that I can look a few years down the line or 10 years down the line, and if I've followed that desire, has it led me to be a better version of myself and lead me to fulfill my potential even more?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your desire could be anything, really.
Yeah, I think I like it's so funny to me because sometimes I'll tell someone in the heart of like a dry season of creativity or whatever for me. I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm just not doing anything." And they're like, "Well, you're raising kids and that's huge." And that is huge, but that's not my number one desire. But it doesn't discredit every woman whose number one desire that is, because some women were made to be mothers, to be fully at home with their kids. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's because those kids need that for their path in life. Not even like, like it's you're a better mother if you are a stay-at-home mom or not. It's like everybody's path is different because of what we're given. Me personally, I could probably be a stay-at-home mom, but I choose to work because I have the desire to produce work that is not raising my children.
Mm-hmm.
I think my children are better for it because I'm not a very rhythmic, routine person. And so when my son goes to school, he gets routine and rhythm, and that's so important for him. But for other moms that I know, being at home, I know a lot of moms that homeschool their children, and that is what is so good for those children. And you don't know what I don't think we can even fully understand where our desires will lead, like the long-term effects.
Mm-hmm.
But like my desire to work instills a work ethic in my son, which I don't know what he's going to use that with. My friend's desire to homeschool instills a family bond in her son, which I don't know what he's going to do that like with that. There's so much potential from our own personal desires that our own children need, that are individual. Like they don't my desire can't be a blanket for every child out there. My desire is
Oh, yeah.
specifically to cover my child, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that way of thinking. Um, yeah. I mean, we all have our purpose in life. And if we're not following it, it's not doing any service to anyone around us if we're not fulfilling it.
Yeah.
Like, I am a very structured person and organized, not how my kid works. That's why I can't homeschool her. Like,
Right.
I stayed home with her for 3 years, and that was the best thing ever. And I wanted it, and I would never change that at all. And I wasn't, you know, like filling other desires of mine. I was at a kind of, because I would, read and I would learn, and I was fulfilling other little creative things along the way. But at the time, that's what we both needed. And now she's out of the house, and I'm showing her, hey, look at me. I'm doing my things. I'm fulfilling my desires. I even had to talk with her yesterday about like the habits book that I'm reading and saying, isn't that cool? Like you can, uh, you have a mom who's doing the work now, and you are welcome to pick my brain about any of it so that you can be like light years ahead of other people,
Mm-hmm.
like knowing things at such a young age. Um,
Right.
but like the mom who desires to homeschool and have that family bond for an even long, like that type of bond for an even longer amount of time, that helps. Who knows what those kids are going to do? Like they might be the next, like vaccine discoverer or
Yeah.
president of the United States or part of the UN. Like who knows? Or
Right.
environmentalist.
Or it could be that they are the ones that,
or they're the ones that are going to
create,
homeschool, and then their
right.
children are going to be who knows what.
Yeah, exactly. Like they could be creating the connection with their own family, which I think that we need. I think that the people, like the president of the United States, is just as important as like Joe Smith down the street who
Mhm.
mows his neighbor's lawn because she's too old to do it herself. You know, like that's the thing that we are, just because our desires don't look like somebody else's. I mean, some people their desire is to build a huge business, and that's great, and then they do that and you look at them and you're like, why are they doing that and I'm just here at home with my kids? Well, because your desire is to be at home with your kids, and that is the huge business. Like it has the same effect, it's just in a different, it's in a different scale, just the same as like I was thinking about this the other day, how thank God we all have different desires. Otherwise, we would never eat. You know, like thank God there's people whose desire is to cook or to bake. And that's definitely not my desire. I don't know. Today, Arrow's teacher said she would make us dinner if I brought her a 9 by 13. And I was like, is that a size wood? Do you need us to work on something in the house? And she's like, girl, you need to get in the kitchen. She meant a baking pan. I don't know. I had no clue, but that's not my desire. My desires are nowhere near the kitchen, and except for the fact that my desire is to have nourishment to continue in life, so I will do what's necessary in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I just think that's so cool. There are people who desire to. I often think this about hairdressers, because I think a lot of women that become hairdressers have the potential for so much more. But we freaking need hairdressers. We need people to cut our hair. And you know, like one of Jay's cousins runs an amazing barbershop. I mean, it's like, and even we have what's her name? It just escaped me. Your friend, who's
Yeah.
your Miranda? Yeah, Miranda has a hair salon, right? Like they
In Beaufort.
these what
In Beaufort.
in Beaufort. Um, so they actually remind me a lot of each other, Jay's cousin and Miranda, because they even kind of look alike. But they they both are these like smart, business-minded women whose desire is hair, is cosmetology. Like that's, thank God we have them so we can feel beautiful about ourselves and have
Mhm.
nice haircuts and hair whatever, you know? Like it's just, every person needs a desire. If we did not have those people having those desires, we would be without. We wouldn't have cute shoes, we wouldn't have cute haircuts, we wouldn't have cute clothes, and we wouldn't have good food.
Yeah.
We need desires for a reason.
Yeah, and everybody's are different for a reason, like you said.
Yeah. My desire is not to be a doctor because I will faint at the sight of a vein. But
That's
thankfully, I know. But thankfully, people have that desire. Thankfully, there's people out there who have the desire to catch babies out of vaginas. Like that's a weird desire. It's beautiful, but also weird. And
yeah.
people that love it, love it. It's
Uh-huh.
so necessary. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling about all the options of desires.
Options, yeah.
But
Um,
yeah,
yeah, we are all about fulfilling our potential and the the never-ending thirst to learn and better ourselves with being happy where we are at this moment as well. And I feel like
yeah.
that is the balance that people are trying to find, and that is the most beneficial is
Mm-hmm.
understanding. And if you're not content or happy with what you're doing or with where you're at, you need to kind of look inside and figure out what is it, like what fuels me, what is going to help me be the best me for me and for others, and who is it that I want to serve, whether it's your family or people outside of your house, and then go for it, man.
Yeah. I also we mentioned this in a previous podcast, but I wanted to bring it up again just in case anybody missed it. The fact that our business coach had said something that just resonated so deeply with me, which
Mm-hmm.
is that if you have a desire, like whatever your desire is, it means that you were given the abilities to fulfill that desire. So it doesn't mean you will fulfill your desire, but it means that if there's a desire, if there is a desire in your heart, it is there for a reason, because this world that we live in needs you to, or I guess doesn't need you to. This world would benefit if you fulfill that desire. If you don't, they might have to find someone else. But because you have that desire, you are fully equipped to achieve said desire, whatever that means. And honestly, the only thing keeping you from fulfilling your desire to the fullest is your own limiting beliefs and barriers that you're putting up to blockade yourself from that fulfillment and success. But man, I totally know you can do it, and it can be freaking amazing if you tell those blockades in your mind, nope, you're a lie. Don't you dare tell me that I can't make more money. Don't you dare tell me that I'm not strong enough. Don't you tell me people will judge me, because I don't give a flying poop what people think about me, because this desire is going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite authors is Jen Sincero, and her book, You Are a Badass, that is definitely you. It's her telling you, you can do it. If it's something on your heart and something you want to do and something you desire, you can totally do it. You are made to do it then. You don't have to do it, like Ciara said, but it's totally possible.
Yeah, it is. And another thought, another limiting belief that I think pops up a lot for people when it comes to their desire, because I said, if you don't do it, somebody else will. Yes, somebody else will, but it won't be the way that you did it. So yeah, there might be somebody else out there already doing it. I mean, look, it's so strange the way that people get ideas. I think, for example, the fact that I named my son Arrow, and I thought that was the most unique name, and then instantly met 3 other children his age named Arrow. Insane.
Emily, not a very common name. We met, I think, at least 3 of them where we lived in Beaufort.
All her age too.
One was exactly her age. The others were various ages.
I know 2 other Emmelyns, and they're all like really close to her age. It's so bizarre. Or
and
another example.
It was not like a popular name. I chose it for its uniqueness.
Yes. I know. That's what I did with Arrow. It's crazy. Arrow.
Or at least it's not
That's not even a name. Yeah, that's true. But another thought. So here's a Ciara fun fact for you. When I was in high school and early college, before I met Jay, basically, my favorite movie was Armageddon.
That sounds familiar.
And Armageddon came out the same year as Deep Impact. They're the same movie. It's about a giant comet coming to destroy the freaking Earth. But they didn't like talk to each other about this. There was no, hey, I'm gonna make a comet movie. No, I'm gonna make a comet movie. I'm gonna beat you to it. That didn't exist. They both just created this comet movie and released it the same year. And I was like, well, all right, there's that. It's just the way it is. And there's a few movies out there that are very similar to that same story. I don't mean like similar to the same story as Armageddon, but like there's a couple of pairings.
But they've come out at the same time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, I was just thinking about all these movies. I gotta get back to my thought.
Was you, just because, like, if Ciara and I were not in on a business together and not in on a podcast together, and we come up with the same idea, we are such individuals at the same time that even though we have the same idea to make, say, a podcast about being the best version of yourself, we're going to do it in different ways. The cool thing for you is that we came together and you get both perspectives, but we could have both done it separately and been doing just as well.
But the important thing to remember is that different people resonate with different people.
Yeah.
And so people need you to do whatever your desire is. People need you to fulfill that. Because, I mean, even on, like on our Instagram, we say stuff that other people are saying. On the podcast, we say stuff that other people are saying. But you like the way that we're saying it. Some people may hate the way we're saying it. And that's fine. They can go find somebody else. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. If you listen to a podcast and you're like, ugh, I just hate this podcast, it's so awful. Well, good. Stop listening to it. Find somebody else that's talking about the same thing in the way that you want to hear it. because we all come from different backgrounds, which is beautiful. It's not a bad thing to be who you are and to come from the culture you've come from, to, you know, better, like, be welcoming and accepting of all cultures, but also don't take away from your own in doing that, because who you are is who you are for a reason. And anyway, if you the world needs you to fulfill your desire, because you're going to do it in a way that nobody else would. So even if there is another person making jewelry out of old garbage lids just like you, they're not going to make it in the exact same way that you are. So you still put your stuff out there, and we're going to buy it from which one we resonate with.
Bam.
Garbage lid jewelry. Thought. Go for it.
You're welcome. I like some sort of game, but I can't think of a good one.
I was thinking of one.
Okay.
I don't know if you'll like it.
Good.
I was thinking that it would be fun for us to reflect on our desires at age 5, 15, 25, and now.
Ooh. Okay. So like,
so I'll go first to give you an example.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so for me at age 5, my biggest desire was to play make believe while not sharing my toys because I was an only child and I didn't know how to share. And so I wanted friends, and it was really fun to play with them, but I didn't want to do it if it came at the expense of sharing my Barbie dolls or my quince. Did you have quince?
Yes, I loved quince.
Freaking love quince.
Okay, age 5. My biggest desire, I'm trying to think, kindergarten Jessika, was I remember I loved family time, I think. Like I remember, because I'm trying to think of like, okay, like we lived in New Jersey at this time. And one of my favorite things that I used to do was family kisses. Like I would get if my parents were near each other, I would have them, I don't know, I forget what I called it, but I had them like pick me up together and we would like all kiss at once.
Oh my gosh, that is so sweet.
But yeah, I mean, I loved love. I loved boys at that age already. I just loved love.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I had it.
I had you weren't without. You just loved.
I was thinking about that this morning about like, you know, Enneagram and the desire, like for like Enneagram 2, the desire to be loved and to feel loved. I'm like, I don't think I had a messed up childhood. Like I didn't get messed up in that way because that was fulfilled. Like I was very loved in my family. Like our family was loving. Even though there was a divorce at age 8, the family was still loving.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember it. What?
Age 15.
Yes, age 15. So my desire at age 15 was to be understood because I was angsty and I was living in a blended family, a recently blended family that wasn't supportive, that wasn't stable, and where I was often like told I wasn't good enough. And I was just like, what are you talking about? I'm freaking awesome. And so for me, it was hard. I didn't believe them that I wasn't good enough. I was pissed that they didn't understand how good I really was. And so that was my desire. What?
I love that you're like, it's not that, like, I knew how good I was and they needed to with it. I like that. Because not a lot of
you have no awesome
have that feeling.
Well, I don't know that I had it with that much sass as I do with my 30-year-old self.
That, like, you can look back and think that.
Yeah.
Cool. I think maybe mine was to be seen.
Interesting.
Because so 15, I was very much in, you know, acting mode. Like I wanted to be seen and known. I wanted to like get bigger roles within whatever I was doing. I was still shy. Like I say that I was shy growing up, and I always had friends too, but like I was still in my shell and I was definitely not showing my true self. So yeah, it's probably just to be seen, but I had no idea how to go about that because I was at the same time, too scared to be seen and put
I think
myself.
that dynamic is super interesting. I was thinking about that recently because I am very extroverted and I love being on stage, but I realized that I don't like being the center of attention in a crowd of extroverts. Did I tell you this?
Hmm.
I don't think
Like,
I did.
what do you mean in a crowd of
So
extroverts?
if I am at a party with a bunch of extroverted people having a great time and a group is, like singing karaoke or laughing and doing something that's funny,
Uh-huh.
I don't want to be that center of attention because I like to perform when I know that I'm doing it the best. Like I don't want to be not that I'm not I will do it with somebody else. Like I love improv because we're matching each other, we're doing it together and we're the center of attention. But I don't want to fight for the center of
Oh
attention.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I become more like reclused or shy when people are fighting for attention because it makes me uncomfortable and I don't want to be a part of it. When I used to think I was just like nervous or shy, but really I was like, I
Mm.
don't feel the need to be. I don't want to fight for the center of attention. I will take it when I can have it exclusively.
At first, I was like, no, I'm the opposite, but no, I am that way because I love to be in a crowd. I love like being amped up by each other. But
Yes,
yeah, especially coming from a theater background where there's a
I
million
was.
vying for the attention versus
Mhm.
doing what you love and letting it come to you. Because I love being on stage, and I remember even like middle school productions, like when I was doing it outside of school and like and in high school, I never had huge roles, but like other parents would come up to me and tell me that I had stage presence. And so that just like,
Yeah.
made like amped me up and
Oh yeah.
I
Fueled
wanted it
you.
more. But yeah, I in like a group of boastful people, I'm not going to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I remember that's why we bonded. I think in at UCF because I remember you being like, "Those people are not my crowd," and I was like,
yeah, they're not my
"They
people.
are." I think you actually taught me that. At first, I always have thought like if I wasn't friends with you, would I have been friends with the musical theater people?
Mhm. And I mean, I like them on a certain level, like, especially more one
Separate
to
when they
one.
weren't together. Yeah.
Yeah, but like when they're all around each other and they like, and this is so stereotypical, and they could all be completely different now, who knows? But like, it's that fighting for attention, and that's also not being authentic. They were not
Right.
being true to themselves. They were like almost like they needed to be this persona so that they could get the more attention. I don't shy away from attention, especially not now. And like, I have no problem speaking in front of a whole bunch of people or being on stage in front of a whole bunch of people, but I'm not going to fight for attention.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If someone's going to
Totally
take
agree.
it, go for it. I don't need it.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
So that was 15. What about 25?
Okay, you go.
Okay, 25. Terrible. That was really gross. Oh, YouTube. The uncut things that are so nasty. What was I gonna say? I don't remember. Oh, 25, right. I think my biggest desire at 25, I didn't know it, but my biggest desire was contentment because I was trying to fill all of these needs and all of these things. Like I think at that point I had the desire to be married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wasn't even engaged when I turned 25. So, but I also got married at 25, right? Um, anyway, I'm not sure. But right around that point, I wanted Jay to propose. I wanted to get married. I wanted to be a famous actress. I wanted to write a script that would be amazing. I also had like I would when I lived in LA, I tried so many different avenues. I did voice voice acting. I don't even remember the list of things that I would. Oh, I tried to publish a book. I wanted to publish a book before 25, so I was trying to do that. It didn't work out. It's still an awesome book. I just didn't give it my full effort because I had so many buckets open trying to fill them all to find contentment when really I didn't realize that finding contentment was deep inside of me. So we came full circle. Um, yeah. So that was that's what my biggest desire was. What was yours?
I was I got pregnant when I was 25. My biggest desire was similar, actually. It was to be, yeah, happy within myself and like healthy in that way because we were rocky uh, before he left for that deployment.
He was
And
deployed while you were pregnant?
no, we got pregnant like 3, 4 months after he got back.
Got it. Okay.
I'm trying to think like
Where you're at.
2011. Yeah. So I got in really good shape during that deployment in a very
I
healthy way.
remember.
I had a job that I really enjoyed. I was like, I had a few friends that I would see every once in a while there. Like I was in a very good, healthy place in my mind. And so that's why when he came back, I mean, we talked throughout, like, then we were actually in a good place again. And then we wanted to have a baby and we got pregnant. And so, of course, I was also focusing on being a healthy pregnant mom so I could have a healthy baby. So, yeah, probably being content and healthy, like being content in a very healthy way.
Yeah. Opposite of, so still contentment, but opposite of the way I was looking for contentment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would, that was like the beginning of my real, like, authentic journey without even realizing it.
Yeah. I like it. And which brings us to today.
I know.
Here we are.
No, I'm not 35 yet. I don't even know how old am I.
You're gonna be
I'll be 35 in
34.
months. No, I'm gonna be 30.
No, you're not.
Yeah,
It's 21. You're gonna be, holy cow, you're gonna be 35.
I am.
So weird. Oh my gosh.
But still, yeah. No, okay. So we're not exactly 35 yet. You're a year away.
But we're pretty close.
But yeah. So what's your biggest
That's
desire?
so funny that it's been 10 years. That's the perfect age to pick.
That means that Emmeline's gonna be 10 soon.
Stop.
Oh, okay.
You're not allowed to talk about that.
My desire is to keep her my baby forever. No, not really.
I know. Okay, so now I think my desire would be family. Like my desire is very family focused. So before it was, like what do I want? What can I achieve? And now it's like I still want to do great things, but it's for a different purpose. I want to fulfill these bigger things to set a good example for my children, to set up a healthy, to set up enough income to where my husband doesn't have to work so hard and he can come home and be with our kids and not be stressed. To my desire is to create a foundation from which money is not a stress, and we don't have to make decisions based on money. Not that I want to be like overly rich and crazy. I just want money to not have to be the main determining factor for things anymore. I guess maybe that's my desire.
Yeah.
So, but for my family, like the ultimate root is family, to make my husband's stress lower, to make sure that I get to be with my kids and not spoil them with, like, I feel like a lack of money brings more spoils in a way, because I'm working, so my kid is watching TV, or what did I ask for him for Christmas? An iPad so he can play games when I have to work. Like that. In those ways, he's more spoiled because I'm not being with him as much as I would like to be if I didn't have to work so much and so hard. So anyway, yes. So I still, yeah, that's funny because I had said I like work. I like work. I value work. I just value work, doing big things in short amount of time so I can go and do the other things.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
My current desire is honestly like maybe I don't know how to put it into words. I mean, my current desire, I'm very happy with the space that we're in right now. and what I know is coming.
Mm-hmm.
What I know is coming is being fulfilled by my desire to help other people and bring value to other people so that they can be fulfilled, and then my family and people can be fulfilled. Fulfillment.
So your biggest desire, yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, my battery died,
And
and
I am
I was
fulfilled.
following so clearly, and then I
Yeah.
lost
And
it
the cool thing
for
is,
a second.
I feel fulfilled in what I have, and I know that that feeling is going to grow even more as I continue to do the right things that I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think your desire is
Continued
yeah.
fulfilled.
I was gonna say continuous, like
Yeah.
continued.
Which is
That makes
what we
sense.
talked about. It's being content with where you are, but not letting that stop you from growth.
Mm-hmm.
Positive growth, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly.
Full circle. Bam.
I love it. Oh,
It,
that was a great note to end on. Boom. Accomplished. Well, then in that case, might as well cue that closing music. That's not our closing music, but I couldn't think of how to actually.
Yeah,
I don't know. Well, thanks for joining us. We are super grateful that you keep coming back and that you listen all the way to the end and that you listen all the way to the bloopers, which are at the very, very end, where you can hear all of the things that we cut out of the episode, which is absolutely nuts. Although you can also see that and more on our YouTube channel. So be sure to check out our YouTube channel if you want to watch the podcast instead of just listening. You can search for it at In Raw Life on YouTube. I don't know if you at that, but search In Raw Life and you'll find us. You can also, what?
I said In Raw Life or In Raw Life podcast will come up.
Yes. Oh, you can also find us at inrawlife.co on Instagram, where we will give you lots more encouragement 5 times a week on top of this 1 hour long episode. Speaking of this episode, we'd love it if you shared it. So you can share it on Instagram, tag us at inrawlife.co, and we will share you sharing it. And also, while you're sharing, get in there and rate, review, and subscribe so that continues to tell the podcast people that you like what you're hearing so that they keep sharing it too. And we get to grow this community of awesome people just like you.
And then you can fulfill our desires.
Yes, and your own. Your desire to seek encouragement and knowledge is fulfilled here. So help others to do the same. Ooh, it's all of that. Anyway,
I know. I thought of that. We would love for you to be part of an episode. And the way that you can do that in the easiest way is just record yourself saying what it means to you to be strong. Just like you heard at the beginning of this episode. You can say being strong means, or strength to me means, and then you fill in the blank. Because as we said, we are all different. We all have different perspectives, and that is going to mean something different to us. Even on different days of the week, it might mean something different. I would also, just for this episode, send us a message either at podcast@inrawlife.com, which is where you can send that recording, or at inrawlife.co on Instagram of what you desire right now. We would love to hear from you and connect with you. We can talk about it. So I thought that would be really fun. More connecting. Connecting is awesome. Yeah. Until next week, we hope that you do some deeper digging into what it is that you desire. And we really hope that you are feeling content with where you're at and content with the growth that is to come. We hope that you share our episode because that will help us. And okay. And if you desire to be someone else or live someone else's life, remember that that is not actually your desire. That is a desire of what is lacking in your life, and you need to do a little bit more work. Bye.
I
That's
feel
what I
like we
got.
should say it again and say the same thought, but say if you desire to be someone else, like that person is not you or something. Like we already have one of them in the world. We need you.
Oh, I do
You
like
see what
that
I'm
better.
saying? I thought that's where you were going. So, but I think
No, I just didn't have the words. And if your desire is to be like someone else, remember, they're already taken and you're not, and you're amazing. So be you. Bye.
that was awesome. That was really good. Okay, I'm going to stop recording now. Stop.
And then you need to stop the YouTubes.
Oh, okay. Coming back, YouTube. So sorry. Bye, YouTube. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the bell.